And welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. And today we're joined by Charlie Saffro with CS Recruiting. Charlie, top of the morning to you. How's Chicago?
Chicago is great. We've got a nice summer day, and I'm excited to be here.
Well, you know what? We couldn't be more excited to have you and really want to dive into a little bit about what you do. First of all, though, you know, our company was formed back in 2011. You're right there close to us, 2010. Your age is older than we are. Talk to us about, you know, your desire, number one, to start in this, you know, to start this recruiting business in our industry, how you came to that, and some of the whys and even the challenges that you've had, you know, especially early in the years.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you the short version of the story. So I don't like to say I started my company by accident, but it was very organic. I graduated college, went into marketing, and I did that for about 6 years. My husband was actually a freight broker at the time, so I think you'll appreciate this. Back in 2000, he came up with a concept for a load board that technically eliminated the broker. So way before their time, connected shippers and carriers. We had our first son. I went back to my marketing world. It was a grind. So asked him if I could come work for his small company. They had 8 employees at the time. He begrudgingly let me join their team. Didn't really want to work with his wife, but he knew I was a hard worker. So I started with their team. The company was Real Time Freight, and they just went through a massive growth spurt. So honestly, when I started, I was kind of an office manager. I was, you know, filing papers back in the day, getting coffee, doing whatever they needed me to, until there was a need to recruit. And I had capacity, so taught myself how to recruit, help them grow. Stayed with them for about 4 years as their corporate recruiter. They sold the business in 2010 with a little over 100 employees. So wow. Definitely got some experience finding people, evaluating them, interviewing, onboarding, but really taught myself along the way. And then I started as really doing some freelance recruiting work. Give a lot of credit to LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn very early, positioned as a logistics and transportation recruiter. So as I was doing some freelance searches, I maybe had 2-3 searches I was working on, and started getting inquiries from mostly brokerages in my area, asking if I could help them recruit a sales manager or a carrier rep, and I knew the business, so why not? And that's where the organic piece started. It was one opportunity after another. I'm definitely an entrepreneurial person, and I take my work seriously. So it was either, go full force and make this something, or potentially fail, and I don't fail. So just gave it my all, and before I knew it, I had a side business that turned into a real business where, I had opportunity and I needed to scale and hire people to support it.
Awesome, man. You know what? We love the women-owned business, especially in this industry right here, an industry that's been so male-dominated. We see it in the driving force, and we see it within, we see it inside the office. But I'll tell you, as somebody that's been in transportation, trucking for a long time, that has really changed. We do see a lot more females. I'm talking about directors of, chief information officers or CFOs, accounting, CSR reps, all of that, dispatchers. They've really done a great job. Y'all have done of coming into this industry and showing the dudes kind of, hey, you know what? We're pretty daggum good, if not better than you.
Exactly. I love to see the female audience grow, and it definitely has since I've been in this industry.
Yeah, so I got a question for you, because, a challenge, and again, you have a staff of 43. And I just try to think about this is a challenge is finding somebody out there. I'm not talking about you. Now you're recruiting for, say, my company. I'm looking for somebody to come in here and be a dispatcher on the brokerage side or on the trucking side, a CSR. You've got to somehow get into the heart and soul of that person you're talking to, trying to find a good match for our company as well. I mean, what's that secret sauce? Can you help us out a little bit?
Absolutely. The secret sauce is that we know this industry inside and out. So everyone on our team either came from the industry or we've trained them rigorously in all aspects. And so we know the competitive landscape. We know how companies treat their employees, which companies have strong cultures, which companies have high turnover. So we also really cover the scope of the market, 3PL, asset-based, shipper side, technology. So when a candidate comes to us, we can really evaluate their skill set, their background, also what do they want to do moving forward. And it's very rare that we would only have one opportunity for them. In most cases, we can kind of open up and say, you know, you were a dispatcher, we can help you move along the dispatch path, or have you ever considered an opportunity as a broker or a planner, and really expose them to the full industry. So what makes us different is our knowledge, but also just our human approach. We look at every person as a human being that has emotions, that has families, that, you know, they have decisions to make. They're not just a number, they're not just a resume. And I think that's why people enjoy working with our team, because we treat them the way they deserve to be treated.
You know what? Love that part. But now you're bringing them in. Have you seen a shift from those that have to work from home versus going into the office? You know, what have you seen on that?
Huge shift that clearly the pandemic drove, but I consider it a silver lining. It helped companies realize that they had to step up their game to get great people. It helped people realize their value. Now, I like to caveat this, that there still are and there always will be positions in this industry that require boots on the ground. And there are plenty of people who thrive in those environments. They want to leave their house in the morning. They want to be at the terminal, at the dock, and those people are there, but there is a increasing majority of people that have desk jobs. They sit on a computer and they know they can be equally or more productive working from home. So why not reduce, you know, their expenses and save them time by eliminating the commute? Why not give them that, you know, level of trust by providing some flexibility? So I would say pretty much any office job right now, if you're not at least hybrid, you are missing out on securing some really great talent, because people know that those opportunities are out there, and they also know that they can do good work from home, so why not?
Yeah, great point on that. All right, so experience, work ethic, which is higher in your eyes?
For my company personally, work ethic. And we have hired very experienced people. We have hired entry-level people. And I have just seen it prove itself over the years. It comes down to character, it comes down to people who are motivated, who align with our values. Unfortunately, resumes don't always communicate character or work ethic. So in our world, we usually focus on background, skill set, experience at different companies. That's what gets the resume to us, and that's what gets the, you know, the candidate in interview. But definitely we're screening for character. We're looking at all those intangibles, as I think that's really what makes somebody successful.
Gotcha. So you mentioned earlier in the conversation that you went to go work for your husband. Now you begin your company. Coincidentally, or was that a favor owed? He becomes your first employee.
It was an absolute coincidence. When he sold his business, he was actually given a non-compete. So he had to wait out before he could really get back into the true transportation technology side of the industry. At that time, I had started my company. He was an entrepreneur. He had done this before. I hadn't. I will be very honest. I was making it all up as I went along, and I still sometimes do that today. But he was my first hire, and it was at a point where I mentioned before it was either go full force or potentially fail, and I knew I wanted to give it my all. But my husband was instrumental in helping me, you know, set up our company LLC, set up the bank accounts, the legal, all the stuff I kind of didn't want to deal with early on. He supported me. So he is proud to say he was the first hire, helped me grow the business for about 7 years, and then he recently stepped out, and now I'm running the business and really caring for the baby that I built.
Awesome. So Charlie, you talk about your baby, and as an entrepreneur, I'm telling you, I feel the passion. I can hear it in your voice, the importance of that. The same thing happens. However, when we begin a company, and when you began your company, let's just go to there were probably some struggles, some challenges in the knowledge base, maybe even from the finance side to going out and creating, at some point you're going out and you're selling your company and somebody's going to ask that dreaded question, how long have you been in business? And you know what? That's the part you're like, oh, I can't wait till I can say 12 months, right? Not even a year. You were trying to get to the big number. What were some of those challenges? Because when I think about people, and here's where I want you to go with this, because so many people go out there, whether they're independent contractor, starting their own business in any form, they see the end result. They see you 11 years later. And they don't know the challenges that really occur early in the time and the perseverance maybe it takes to keep going on, the creativity, the figuring it out part, all of that. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So many hardships over the years and, just struggles that I had no choice but to work through. So, I think with recruiting, what's really interesting is in the early days, I was a corporate recruiter. So I was paid a salary to do my job. And then when I went off on my own, I really had to convince myself first that I had a service that was worth the fee. Basically, I'm introducing people and that is my job. There's a lot that goes into it, but at the end of the day, I'm being paid to make an introduction. So I will be very upfront. My first entire 12 months in business, I made $4,250. I know that exact number because it doesn't seem like a lot, and now we've got a multi-million-dollar business, but thank you. I was proud because it proved to me that there were customers and potential clients out there that would pay for this service. And I had to really work through that first year. Financially, I could do that. And, I just powered through, proving it to myself. And, as the years went on, I really understood the work that goes into it, the value of our service, to be able to grow and scale with confidence. But a lot of, losses along the way, lots of rejected offers, lots of candidates that, we thought we found the perfect job for, and then we hear that they don't show up on, day 15 to work. So just learning about, the human psychology is fascinating when you really look behind the curtains in this business.
Man, I love the story. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. I believe that as important of a job as you have right now, an important job for entrepreneurs such as yourself is to get out those struggles, because as I'll just tell you and see if you can if you can go along with me on this. But I remember starting and I didn't have anybody to go to. Everybody that I knew was already successful. Perhaps they had taken over a second or third generation business. They weren't going through the same struggles as I was. And I just say this, Charlie, I think we entrepreneurs, especially starting those companies, but we've got to share those with other folks to get it out to them. And I always say this, I'm going to tell you something. You've never gone through anything I haven't gone through. Anything, I mean, at all. And I just want to encourage you and kind of get your feedback and, the leadership or the mentorship that we owe it to some of these folks so they don't have to go through perhaps the same things that we had to go through.
Absolutely. It's a learning curve. And like I said before, I made it a lot of it up as I went along. Part of it is faking it till you make it. And
Yes.
I think that goes back to your other point about, the femininity in the industry. I'm not scared to be vulnerable. I'm confident in what I know, but I'm also curious. I ask questions. I admit when I don't know how to do something. And I think that's a big part of how I've been able to grow is I know when to ask for help. I know who to ask for help from. And I learn along the way. So it wasn't, snap my fingers and it happened overnight. It was a lot of blood, sweat, tears to get to where we are, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Hey, Charlie, we have about 2 minutes left. I do want to go into this one thing. What's that market looking like for that logistics industry right now in hiring people? Are they out there or are they still kind of scarce?
It's kind of scarce. The demand for talent continues to outweigh the supply for talent in our industry. And I don't want to downplay, all the news we're seeing about layoffs and, companies, letting entire workforces go. that's happening. I believe really though that's happening in the tech industry, and it's happening with a lot of companies that were super aggressive with their hiring and now they're kind of backing off and realizing that they need to scale down. In our industry, we are still seeing a huge demand for talent, not a lot of layoffs. If anything, there are more jobs than there are people. So for job seekers, this is a great time to look, explore your value. If you have any hesitations, put yourself out there and really go after your dream. For companies that are hiring, you've got to know what the competition is doing because it's fierce right now and candidates have options. They've got lots of offers on the table. So it's a good time for everyone to learn, but also really to take advantage of what the market's yielding.
Wow, interesting on that. All right, Charlie, we're going to close this out. Before we do that, I want you to do a couple things. Number one, let our viewers, our audience know where they can find your company, you know, if they're looking for a job or looking to hire. And then also, we want to make sure you end this with right here. You're going to state your name, who you work with, and you've been watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Sure thing. So we are very active on LinkedIn. You can find us on LinkedIn, CS Recruiting. Put a lot of content out there with tips and advice for both job seekers and hiring companies. You can also visit our website, cs-recruiting.com. And we'd love to hear from you, whether you are looking to hire and add to your team, or if you are a job seeker, potentially looking for a switch. So you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Charlie, thank you so much. Loved having you on here. Best of luck to you. And you know what? You may be getting a call from somebody in our office here in a little bit.
Sounds great. Great to connect with you this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.